Am I envious? I guess I am. But
Well, I predict, Aubrey, I predict as you integrate more with yourself and you de-thaw, you will hear the Lord speak more to you. That's a typical thing that happens when people
yeah,
do their work, that
yeah,
you will, in your own unique way, it's not going to probably be the same way she does, but I call it your inner knower. Your inner knower
right.
will speak to you and the Lord will bless you with insight and discovery. Let's get to the good stuff. All right, so I want to do a little replay here because I believe in our session on Tuesday, there were gems that you shared that we only took like to a little, you know
Mm.
what I'm talking about? So that's one of the topics we have for today. So let's
Okay.
go there. And how about if you give a big picture overview of what you were just smiling? What is that? Put words to what that means
Well,
to you.
when I started on Tuesday, and like I said, I could see the walls starting to crack and come down. You started talking to me, and I started relating about childhood stuff,
Yes,
and about how the cats, my
Mhm.
kitties,
yes.
broke my heart, and that's where the walls started cracking. God used that to start cracking the wall around my heart. I'm not a person that breaks down sobbing. So what you saw on Tuesday was exceptional. Now the walls being chipped away at, that was a milestone.
Yes, it was.
And for me to let out the hurt and the frustration like that, I don't do that in front of people.
Mm.
I don't share it with people. It brought pain, but it also brought relief. Strange as it may seem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's when we talk about walking, go through the pain. That's a perfect example. You got the gift by walking through what you didn't want to walk through.
Yeah,
And you found on the other side was not darkness, but light,
yeah,
heaviness to freedom, hurt to peace,
yeah.
fear
And
to
there's
love,
actually joy.
joy.
Mhm.
There's actually joy when you stop and look back at it, and you start to analyze it, and you go, man, that was great. You know, and I mean, you can see I'm smiling and laughing about it because it brought joy.
Mhm.
It, it's it's freedom. The chains are breaking, the shackles are being removed, and there's freedom.
So Aubrey, share when did the cracking of the walls start to happen?
When I started speaking with you guys about it on Tuesday,
Mhm.
you know, I could feel it.
And you felt what, Aubrey? I'm asking these specific
It,
questions because
it,
I want you to
it,
verbalize
it,
what's in
it
there.
was it was painful. What I was going through there, because the walls around, you know, when you start beating on a wall, all right, it shakes, it crumbles. Well, if you got that wall around your heart and it starts shaking and crumbling, you're feeling that pain, you know, and it's a numbing pain, and it can change to a sharp pain, the pain keeps changing. When it stops, or you stop it, you can feel the change. It's tangible.
And so what did you do, Aubrey, to break the chain and make the wall crumble and crack on
I
Tuesday?
became vulnerable.
Mhm.
And the vulnerability started with the pain of giving my cats up. They were an anchor that kept me sane. And giving them up was hard. And then they were both adopted within the first week by different people, which, although I'm glad and happy for them, and I hope they've spoiled rotten and live the rest of their days in love and peace and joy. But my heart broke because I'll never see them again. And they were a lifeline to me.
Mhm.
And when I started seeing, because Kim saw how vulnerable I became. She tried to comfort me when I was sobbing my heart out. And she couldn't. But on Tuesday night, that started the cracking. I could see the cracking happening. It's a sense of relief. There is a certain amount of joy, but that burden, that weight is lifted off my shoulders. I feel less burdened. I feel lighter. I feel more confident. And I think Kim sees that, excuse me, and she's responding to that too. It's helping her.
So, Aubrey, what would you say to somebody who would like to break the walls down themselves? And what would you tell them to do?
Where you've tied yourself to, which is not with God, and loosen those ties. You break down in tears and crying and make yourself vulnerable, and you face your fear and turn to God. You have to turn to God. There's no other way. It's like my one shirt says, life without Christ is like an unsharpened pencil. There's no point.
Mhm.
And that's the first step. However, then you have to do something with what by surrendering to God. What are you doing that's giving you this freedom?
By surrendering to God, He can start filling in the gaps.
Mhm.
He takes down the wall and He fills it with His presence, His love, His mercy, His grace, His peace, most of all, His forgiveness.
And so you've accepted his love,
His joy, His peace, His forgiveness.
and now are you able to forgive yourself?
I am. It's not always easy, but I am able to look at myself and look at where I've gone wrong and say, okay, that's in the past. Put it behind you. You don't have to remember it. Get rid of it. Move on. You can't go forward if you keep looking back.
So, Aubrey, this is very delightful.
Yes.
So, have you ever had this level of breakthrough in your life?
Not that I'm aware.
You've been alive for 68 years, and you're
Well,
saying,
I've alive. I've been present 68 years.
all right.
I don't know if I've been alive.
Well, there's a good refinement.
That's a great distinction.
So you've had 68 years of being on the planet.
Yes.
And are you saying that this is the first time you really have gotten just a small little taste of what freedom, forgiveness, God's love is all about for you? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Um, there was one other time, and that's when I gave my heart to Christ. I was in my mid-20s.
Mm.
I had been, I don't think coerced is the right way, but to go
Encouraged.
no, not cursed.
No, encouraged.
Encouraged, yes, to go with some ladies that I used to work with to Rhema on a Wednesday night service. And I went reluctantly. And then a few weeks later, I went again. And then it became more regular. And the one Wednesday night, I remember the praise and worship starting. And the next thing I remember was coming out of the counseling room after having given my heart to Christ. And they met me and were overjoyed, and they gave me a paperback Bible. And 5 weeks later, that Bible started falling apart. I was reading it so much. That was probably the first time. But this is the first time since then.
Well, it's wonderful to see the joy in your being, not just in your face. Can you feel your being is different?
It is.
Describe that.
I'm enjoying being. I walk around the house. There's a lightness in my step. There's a lightness in my heart. Negativity is disappearing. Thank you, Lord. Kim keeps reminding me of where I'm going wrong, and that's fine. It's helping me. It's not irritating and pissing me off. It was shortly after we moved in here, we had a fight. And she went into the bedroom and slammed the door. Well, that triggered me. So I went in there. I said, listen, you want to slam the door? Let me teach you how to slam a fucking door. And I slammed that door 5 or 6 times, but I tell you what, it shook in its frame. I put everything I had into those. And you could just see the fear in her eyes. That's gone. That's gone. There's tolerance now. There's walking in forgiveness. There's walking in mercy. There's walking in love and joy and peace. It's life-changing.
Heaven on earth.
Peace to all men.
This is a goosebump feeling for me, Aubrey, to
Good.
hear you having this. And, when you hear me talk about experiencing the experience of the experience, this
That's it.
is it. And this is doing and having and being. Now you're operating and you have a taste. This is just a taste of being. And as you continue to grow and expand and allow more of this to exist, this becomes the norm.
I think yesterday I probably told her I loved her 40 or 50 times. Every time I'd see her, I love you. You're so wonderful. And then I'd be in the living room and she'd be in the bedroom or the bathroom and say something, and I'd answer, okay, I love you. It's just, it meant a new beginning. It meant new bonds, stronger relationship, deeper relationship, deeper feelings, enlightenment, both mental and spiritual. It's been amazing. I don't want it to stop.
Well, you know, the way to continue to have it be the norm is to keep moving in that same direction, which means continuing to surrender to the Lord,
Yeah.
doing your work, taking personal responsibility for everything you think, say, do, feel, and act, receiving God's love, accepting the love God's given you so that you then can give that to your bride. And then repeat, 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 repeat. And then that becomes the norm for what we call a goosebump marriage.
Yeah.